This is CBC Vancouver News.
I am a little bit worried about coming at night.
Tonight on CBC Vancouver News, as a family mourns the loss of a young man, police ramp up patrols in the seaside community. And more people turning to food banks as costs go up, but even they are in need. Plus,
I don't think you can just say, hey, look, we want to have a party, let's have fun, and not listen to the experts and the people that have history.
the Canucks and a public viewing party. The challenge is around trying to host a big hockey gathering after 2 riots. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Zahra Premji. We begin in White Rock, where the family of a man stabbed to death claims police left them waiting for hours to find out details of his killing. As Michelle Gomez reports, police have boosted patrols amid increased worry in the community.
2 stabbings in just a few days within blocks of each other. The victim of the first stabbing told CBC News it happened at one of these benches over here. And the second stabbing, which was fatal, happened a few blocks in that direction. 27-year-old Clearwater Sohi is described by his friends and family as an easygoing, friendly guy. Sohi's cousin Clearwater Singh says his family is in shock after he was killed Tuesday evening and are questioning why it took police until the next day to provide information to the family. He agreed to speak with the CBC by phone.
Like the day it happened, they came to our house at 10:30 and they just told us like, your brother has been stabbed in the chest and he's no more, he's passed away. And after that, they gave us no information. Like it's been 12 hours after that. We were approaching everyone, right? Every RCMP, White Rock Hospital, everywhere.
Sohi's brother started an online fundraiser to help cover the costs of bringing his body back to India, where his parents reside. In less than a day, it raised more than $50,000.
Community helped us a lot in that, so we are really thankful for their support. We really want to thank the community for that.
A police car could be seen roaming the area Thursday afternoon. Police say they've bumped up patrols in the area. The attacks have shaken the community.
I am a little bit worried about coming at night, especially I come here to walk my dog a lot.
When we think of Canada, we think of it as like a very welcoming country and with like some of the kindest people. So it definitely paints a picture for those people too, like people that are, possibly thinking about immigrating here.
Police described the suspect in the homicide as a black male, 5'11", wearing a hat and a gray hoodie, an almost identical description to the suspect in the earlier attack.
It's very, very concerning. I can tell you that police are throwing a significant amount of resources at this. They are confident that they will catch the individual.
The victims were both South Asian men in their 20s and both newcomers to Canada. Police say investigators are working to determine if the attacks were racially motivated. Michelle Gomez, CBC News, White Rock.
Well, as the cost of just about everything goes up, it means more people are turning to food banks. But even they are in need. Governments provide money for them, but to access that cash in BC, a food bank has to belong to the umbrella organization Food Banks BC. To be a member, agencies have to apply and meet several requirements. As Balpiri reports, it has proven frustrating for at least one independent food bank.
The basic rule of economics couldn't be more clear than at a food bank.
The OCTA is for 2 months, so you can go ahead and pack it up.
There is demand.
It's around 7 months and we don't have a job, so that's why it helps us because we obviously need to eat something.
And there is supply.
Supply means like a donation. It is down by more than 60% now.
In 18 months, Guru Nanak Food Bank's clientele has more than doubled.
This is the toughest time ever we've seen. Recipient is on the higher number ever, and the donation is on the lower number ever.
It's an increasingly tight situation for food banks.
Competition for funding is very, very fierce, right? There's just not a lot going around.
Last year, the BC government announced a multi-million-dollar investment in food security. $15 million of it is earmarked for food banks.
That kind of government money is distributed by Food Banks BC. It's a provincial association with a network of 107 food banks. Guru Nanak Food Bank is not one of them.
The two organizations have had conversations since the food bank expressed interest in membership, but nothing has been formalized.
My understanding is that Food Banks BC offered Guru Nanak $30,000, which they turned down. I'm trying to understand why that would be.
Full network membership, as opposed to one-time funding, includes access to funds that come through third-party campaigns.
Those funds are expected to be used not just in the direct support of the agency and the clients that they're serving, but they're to support the communities that they are operating in as well.
Food Banks BC now says it's in the midst of a thorough review of its membership model.
What we're aiming to do is create a more collaborative and stronger network of agencies where resources can be leveraged more effectively, so that we're not diluting the funds that are available.
Guru Nanak Food Bank is known for meeting a diverse need.
Guru Nanak Food Bank have more than 18,000 recipients in the food bank, so means we need a lot of help.
The independent food bank operates in North Delta, Abbotsford and Surrey solely on community donations.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
If funds dry up, so may the service it offers. Belle Puri, CBC News, Delta.
Police say 2 people have been killed in a fiery crash near Clearwater, about 130 kilometers north of Kamloops. Mounties say they responded to a head-on crash between a semi-truck and a CN rail pickup truck on Highway 5 just after midnight Tuesday. They say the passenger of the semi and the driver of the CN truck were both killed, while the other driver and another passenger in the CN truck are in stable but critical condition. It's not yet clear what caused the crash. Well, more than 15 years after a private developer bought the social housing site, the very slow rebuild continues at Vancouver's Little Mountain. In 2009, the social housing project was torn down after a developer promised to revitalize it. But since then, the badly needed homes have been slow to arrive. As Liam Britton reports, critics are tired of waiting.
On the surface, a typical groundbreaking, but you don't have to dig deep to realize this day has been a long time coming.
What we can do is just focus on moving ahead as quickly as possible.
For a decade and a half, the Little Mountain site has been nearly empty. Once the site of over 200 social housing units, it was sold to developer Holborn in 2008 to replace that housing, add amenities, and build for-profit market housing. But since over 700 residents were kicked out, only 53 social housing units have been built.
I feel bad about the whole situation. If it makes it any better, yeah, I would apologize for how it's taken so long. It was never the intention.
Today's groundbreaking was for another 48 affordable rental units. The mayor noting getting even this in the pipeline has been a process. His council even loosened requirements for Holborn on the project to speed it up at staff suggestion.
This thing was talked about, and there were no shovels in the ground up until we came into office.
The province's housing minister is quick to decry how it's all played out.
The entire thing has been, quite frankly, a disaster.
He stressed it was the BC Liberals who sold the site to Holborn, not the NDP.
The government at the time should never have sold private lands or given private lands to a developer with no real conditions about timelines, no conditions about paying interest back.
The Liberals, now BC United, say Premier David Eby has added to project complexity, rejigging the deal with Holborn.
He made it very clear he was moving forward and getting this project rolling and housing would be built. We're 3.5 years down the road. Nothing has happened.
Holborn says the building started today should be ready by 2026. An advocate for the site and former MLA is skeptical.
It would be funny if it weren't so tragic. I mean, 17 years ago, and it's not finished, and it won't be finished for years and years and years.
BC Housing says those displaced in 2009 will get the first shot at a new place in the new Little Mountain, after waiting about a decade and a half to move back. Liam Britton, CBC News, Vancouver.
The mayor of Vancouver says he would like to organize a public viewing party for the Canucks playoff run. But Ken Sim says a troubling precedent needs to be addressed first. Chad Pawson explains.
Can a huge crowd safely gather outside in Vancouver to watch hockey? It's a loaded question being posed by the city's mayor, one who campaigned on shedding Vancouver's no-fun reputation.
Can we pull something off? Absolutely. Are we going to do our work? Absolutely. We're not just going to say, hey, let's throw a party. This time will be different.
Looking back on 2011 tempers Ken Sim's enthusiasm. 100,000 people were in downtown to watch a Game 7 then. A Canucks loss resulted in chaos, violence, and property damage. It's a dark legacy for the city.
I was in high school. I was actually in grade 10 or 11, I believe. And yeah, I was there with a couple friends. If they're trying to bring back the viewing parties and if they're like new people here in Vancouver just trying to see the game, I mean, honestly, I just would say just watch it at home, honestly.
Ken Sim is preaching safety and lessons learned from a 396-page report from 2011. That message is satisfying some.
Would you have any reservations about coming down to view the Canucks, watch the Canucks game on the street?
It wouldn't even toss me. Yeah. That sounds like fun.
I think it's a fun community event as long as safety can be made a priority. And it's a blast, brings people together.
If it happened, people learn to not behave badly.
The organization representing Vancouver's downtown isn't planning anything, but it's heard from some of its 8,000 businesses that they do want to do something as long as it can be done safely.
When people come downtown and they're here to celebrate, there's a big economic impact for our businesses.
But that big impact in 2011 went wrong. Now, police, city council, the Canucks, others are currently in discussions over a possible event, but those can take months to organize. So anything official may ultimately depend on the Canucks going on a deep playoff run. Chad Boston, CBC News, Vancouver.
Well, summer is not here yet, but BC Hydro is already encouraging customers to apply to get a free portable air conditioner. Last year, the province announced a program to install free AC units in the homes of low-income and vulnerable British Columbians. Most people who died in the devastating 2021 heat dome didn't have air conditioning. BC Hydro has installed over 4,400 units since last summer. Well, after a stressful night, people in the district of Chetwynd are back in their homes. Dozens had been evacuated because of a rapidly growing wildfire south of the community. A major northern highway closed overnight because of the fire, but that has now partially reopened. Our Dan Burrett spoke with CBC's Betsy Trumpner in Prince George earlier this afternoon.
Betsy, thanks for joining us. What's the fire situation right now?
We know there was rain overnight and there's been some growth in the fire, but it's not moving towards Chetwynd. So that meant that people from 2 rural subdivisions were allowed to go home again today. It's been an emotional time. Here's the chair of the regional district, Brad Sperling.
We're immensely relieved that all our residents were able to return home today. It's a very stressful time for them.
Yeah, a really stressful time. We spoke to a woman who was downtown shopping in Chetwynd yesterday. She was several kilometers from the fire, but she said she could hear choppers, she could see flames and smoke. So a lot of concerns. Steve McLean is the CAO of the district of Chetwynd, and he is a few kilometers from the fire. Last night, he could see it through his front window.
We are really dry. It was really windy, and the fire was really worrisome. It's always in the back of our minds anymore. Like our forest fire seasons have grown exponentially.
And Betsy, this seems like a very early start to the fire season. Is that the case?
Officials say it's not really early. It's usually about a week later that they see grass fires in the Peace River region. So not completely out of step. The big issue, though, is that there's been persistent drought ongoing for the last 2 years, extreme level 4 and 5 level drought. And this is also a region of the province where there are so many of those zombie fires, those holdover fires from the last fire season that are still smoldering deep underground.
All right, Betsy Trumpeter, live in Prince George for us. Thanks very much.
Well, in other news, Princess Anne and her husband, Vice Admiral Sir Tim Lawrence, are scheduled to visit BC next week. Now, King Charles's sister will attend a series of events and spend most of her time on Vancouver Island. Her itinerary includes the commissioning ceremony for the HMCS Max Bernays, followed by an overnight sail to Esquimalt. The princess is also expected to meet with BC's Lieutenant Governor Janet Austin. She'll be in BC 3 days starting May 3rd. Well, Anzac Day was commemorated in Vancouver's Victory Square today. It's a day when Australians and New Zealanders take a moment to remember their fallen soldiers. Both national anthems, along with the Canadian one, were performed. Nearly 100 people gathered, and many in the crowd lay wreaths in remembrance. A full brass band, a bagpipe performance, and speeches also took place. The day commemorates soldiers from New Zealand and Australia who landed in the Gallipoli Peninsula in World War I. Anzac Day is an acronym for Australian and New Zealand Army Corps. Well, a trail camera set up just at the right spot. A pair of bear cubs and their mom emerge after a long winter sleep. The story of an adorable discovery coming up next. This week, Jewish people around the world are celebrating Passover. And for many in Metro Vancouver, a visit to Olive and Wild Shop might be in order. It began as a decor store, but things have changed over the years. The CBC's Lisa Christensen dropped by earlier this week.
A holiday that we've been doing for over 3,000 years, and we'll continue to do it. Well, Judaica is typically what people would purchase for the holidays, which we're right now celebrating, which is Pesach. It's a very important holiday, and Judaica could be for the Pesach, for Hanukkah, or for when a boy has his bar mitzvah, a girl has a bat mitzvah, or for a wedding. So typically people would like to give something in the Judaic category as gifting for those occasions. So when the synagogue stopped keeping the product and we saw there was an opportunity, we decided to bring in menorahs for Hanukkah, and it was a great success. So as the time evolved, we expanded the collection. People say we need this or we need that, and we just added to the collection. So it's become, over the last 7 years now, probably the go-to store here in Vancouver and Western Canada for Judaica for the community. So over in this case, we carry a good selection of mezuzot, which are mezuzahs, which all Jewish people typically and traditionally will put on the front door of their home and many other doors within the home, and they insert a scroll from the Bible to bless their home.
And so what will you be doing this week? What does your week look like?
Well, it's a normal week. There's no real difference other than we sit down for 2 nights and we have the Seder table, which is first night, which is last night. Tonight is the second night, and we go through the Haggadah, and we eat matzah for 7 days.
And what about over in this case? This is magnificent.
In this case, we have year-round, for example, Hanukkah, it takes place over a similar period to Christmas, but we find people are buying menorahs and Hanukkah for gifting, for a wedding, for engagement, for a bat mitzvah. So we have various different ones, as well as Kiddush cups. This is a, Michael Ray Kiddush cup.
Well, you can't really see all the detailing, eh? This is
the Jerusalem gates.
Right. Oh, I see.
Well, a father and daughter were exploring their property in Prince George when they came across quite the find, what seemed to be an animal den. So they set up a trail camera to see what might emerge. Take a look.
We were in the woods on our property with my daughter, and she just happened to run across that little hole in the ground. And I said, "Oh, that's weird." So I checked it out, and I saw the frozen up condensation, and immediately I saw, well, it has to be a den. And at the same time, my daughter and I heard the little whining noise in the den, and she said, "Oh, those must be cubs." I set up a trail cam immediately after, just to see what's going on. Over the course of the winter, we had a wolf checking out the den, which was really exciting. And then mid-March, March 19th, the mum left the den, which was super exciting, but we didn't know did the cubs survive or not, so we left the trail cam up. When we saw the sow emerging, she started showing behavior. She brought leaves back in the den to pad it. So we thought, wow, it could be. And on April 10th, the little cubs emerged at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and by 8 o'clock in the evening, they left for good. It's their habitat, it's not ours, and we're just guests. And we were stoked to see.
So cute. Well, here's a live shot of the Cambie Street Bridge with Vancouver City Hall not far off in the distance. Darius Madavi will have your full forecast next.
The weather update is brought to you by Direct Buy Furnace. To cool and clean the air in your home, call Direct Buy Furnace. Installing Trane, the most reliable heating and cooling brand.
All right, let's take a look at what's happening in the world of weather with Darius Madavi. Darius, I am loving this weather. Give me more.
There is lots more on the way, and for anybody that does wish there was a little bit less rain, there is one break in the clouds coming not too far away, so don't worry, something for everybody. But yes, it's a very rainy week, Zahra, just for you. We're going to continue to see what's hitting the south coast now, which is pretty decent rainfall. We're talking by tomorrow morning, we'll probably have gotten anywhere from 20 to 40 millimeters in most places. That's going to continue for a while yet into tomorrow morning, and then we should start to dry up sort of early tomorrow afternoon for the Metro Vancouver area, and then we'll start to see some of that cloud part as well for what should be a slightly clearer afternoon tomorrow. So sort of from 5 p.m. on, I'd say we might get a few breaks in the clouds, a little bit of blue sky there before we get into the overnight periods, but it's not going to last too long. Saturday we start to see some more showers come in, and then this bigger front is also going to roll in, mostly affecting the island, not so much us here further south. Mostly it's going to be a more northern affair, and that's going to continue up into the northern interior as well, which we will see in a moment. But yeah, expect some just in and out showery activity across Metro Vancouver Saturday and Sunday, and then another dry day on Monday, although the rain does continue mid next week, so don't expect it to last too long. Now, we're going to show this across the province. This doesn't take us all the way to Monday. It's only going to go to Sunday, but you saw that showery activity, a little bit of stuff happening in the north, but the big change comes after that model data runs out, so we're switching to a less fine-grained model. We're seeing lots of activity up in the north, and we're also going to see temperatures come back down on Monday as well here. I know that we're seeing them be quite high right now across northern BC. They're going to continue to climb into the weekend, but Monday we see them drop back down. So again, a bit of relief coming. In terms of conditions tomorrow, we do have some more shower activity for the coast. A small chance of thunderstorms for some parts of the southern interior, but then sunny through central BC, and just a very small chance of precipitation further north. And then if we turn to our 5-day forecast for Metro Vancouver, we do have that break in the clouds and pretty much just everything we talked about. Lots of rain still on the way, but also a sunny day, slightly more sunny day for anybody who could use some sun.
You know what? I'll take a little bit of sun. Thanks, Darius.
Thank you.
Now that's your late news for Thursday, but wait, before you let that head hit the pillow, make sure you go to our website, check out what's making headlines online. That's cbc.ca/BC. Thanks for being here with us tonight. Stay safe and have a good night.